Rena stepped off the transport pod and took a deep breath. The air smelled faintly of ozone and metal, a scent that always reminded her she was far from home. Nova Citadel spread out before her, a shining city of glass towers, glowing walkways, and humming hovercrafts. It was a place where art and technology mixed in ways few colonies could imagine. And somewhere in the city, the stage she had dreamed about for years waited for her. She pulled her small bag tighter against her shoulder and walked toward the main plaza. Crowds moved around her, each person absorbed in their own world. Some watched holographic advertisements flicker in the air, while others simply enjoyed the music that floated from unseen speakers. Rena's eyes were drawn forward, toward the tallest tower in the city. That was where the theater was. That was where she hoped to make her mark. Inside the theater, she found Terran, the stage engineer she had been corresponding with for weeks. Terran had a quiet presence, not flashy but full of sharp attention to details. He wore a plain uniform, but his eyes sparkled when he spoke about the stage. "Rena," he said, smiling. "Welcome to Nova Citadel. I hope your journey was smooth." "It was," she replied, though her voice trembled slightly with excitement. "I've never seen anything like this place." Terran nodded and gestured toward a side corridor. "Come. I want to show you the stage before anyone else sees it. You'll need to understand it fully before your first performance." Rena followed him through narrow halls and past doors that hummed with hidden energy. When they entered the main theater, her eyes widened. The stage was unlike any she had seen before. It stretched wider than a football field, but the edges seemed to fade into light. Tiny drones hovered above, casting shifting beams of energy. Screens lined the walls, but they didn't display anything. Somehow, Rena could feel them waiting, as if the whole room breathed along with her. "This is it," Terran said quietly. "The Desire stage. It doesn't just show performance, it reflects what the performer feels. Every thought, every emotion, every longing becomes part of the show." Rena took a hesitant step forward. The floor felt smooth under her boots, almost like it responded to her touch. She thought of the village she had left behind, the small wooden theater where she had first sung for an audience. She thought of her parents, who had always encouraged her, even when others doubted her dream. And she thought of the city lights around her, alive with possibilities. She closed her eyes, and when she opened them, she gasped. Tiny lights had started swirling around her, forming shapes she could almost recognize. It was as if the stage had read her thoughts, turning them into delicate patterns of color and motion. Terran smiled. "It takes time to control it. But once you do, the audience will feel your emotions as if they were their own." Rena swallowed hard. The responsibility felt enormous. She had always wanted to inspire people, to make them feel something real, but this was different. Here, her inner feelings were no longer private. They became a story, visible to everyone. She spent the next hours walking the stage with Terran, learning the controls and the subtle ways the platform reacted to movement and voice. Every step, every note she sang, seemed to awaken the room. Rena realized that performing here was not just about talent, it was about honesty. If she lied to herself, the stage would show it. But if she was true, the performance could touch hearts in ways she had never imagined. By evening, the city outside glowed with neon and starlight. Rena stood alone on the stage for a moment, letting the energy of the theater wash over her. For the first time in her life, she felt both small and immense at the same time. She was one person, but her dreams, her desires were larger than anything she had ever seen. A soft chime echoed from the theater doors, signaling the end of her first private session. Taran came back, his expression unreadable but thoughtful. "You have potential," he said. "But be careful. The stage is more than a tool. It learns from those who perform. It will show truths you might not expect." Rena nodded, her heart racing. She didn't fully understand what he meant, but she knew one thing: she had to be ready. The Desire stage was waiting, and soon, the entire colony would see her. As she left the theater that night, walking under the glowing towers of Nova Citadel, Rena felt a mix of excitement and fear. Her journey had only just begun, and the stage promised a future full of possibilities, challenges, and desires she had yet to discover. For the first time, Rena believed she could change not only her own life but also the hearts of everyone who would one day watch her perform. The next morning, Rena returned to the theater. The city outside glimmered under a pale sun, but her thoughts were already inside the Desire stage. She felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. Today, she would meet the other performers who shared this remarkable stage. Inside the rehearsal hall, Taran was already waiting. He greeted her with a nod. "You will meet the others today. Remember, the stage responds to more than just skill. It senses emotion. Stay true to yourself." Rena nodded, though her stomach twisted with anticipation. She followed him down a side corridor into a larger practice room. There, she saw two performers, Milo, a tall dancer with confident movements, and Lyra, a singer whose voice seemed to shimmer even without the stage's magic. "Rena," Milo said with a grin, stepping forward. "Welcome. I hope you're ready. This stage, it's not like anything you've ever seen." I think so," Rena replied softly, glancing at Lyra. Lyra smiled gently. "It will challenge you, but it can also show the best of who you are. Just don't be afraid of what it might reveal." The three performers stood together as Taran activated the stage. The holographic lights shimmered, forming faint outlines of shapes and colors. The room felt alive, almost as if it were breathing with them. Rena stepped forward first. She closed her eyes and thought of her voice, of the stories she wanted to tell, of the feelings she had kept hidden for so long. When she opened her eyes, the stage responded. Light swirled around her feet, forming patterns that reflected her hope and curiosity. It was beautiful, but also strange. She could feel the stage sensing her doubts and fears too. Milo moved next. He danced with bold, sweeping gestures. The stage responded with bursts of light that pulsed to his rhythm, highlighting his confidence and his desire to impress. Rena noticed that his movements seemed to dominate the space, as if he tried to control the stage rather than work with it. Finally, Lyra sang. Her voice was soft at first, but it carried deep emotion. The stage responded delicately, showing gentle waves of color that reflected both joy and longing. Rena realized then that each performer brought something different, and the stage did not judge, it revealed. Taran watched closely, making small adjustments to the holograms. "You see," he said, "the stage is a mirror, not a tool. It shows what you carry inside, whether you realize it or not. Pay attention to that, and you can create something no one has ever seen before." Rena took a deep breath. She wanted to control her nerves, but as she stepped forward again, her mind wandered to memories of home, her small village theater, the cheering faces of friends and family, the songs she had written but never sung in public. The stage reacted instantly, shaping delicate images of small lights gathering to form an audience, smiling and clapping, watching her every move. She had never felt so vulnerable, and yet so alive. Milo noticed the change. "Interesting," he said. "You're letting it see your real self. That's bold." Rena looked at him. "I don't want to hide," she said simply. "I want it to be honest." Lyra nodded in agreement. "Honesty is what makes art powerful," she said. "The stage will test you, yes. But it will also reward you when you're true." The rehearsal continued for hours. They practiced small sequences, singing and dancing together, learning how to blend their emotions without overpowering one another. Rena discovered that when she focused on her feelings, the holograms became more vivid, more alive. But when she tried to imitate Milo's confidence or Lyra's gentleness, the stage hesitated, showing flickers of uncertainty. By the end of the day, Rena was exhausted, but a strange sense of satisfaction filled her. She realized that the Desire stage was not just about performing for others, it was about understanding herself. Each emotion she let show, each truth she embraced, made her stronger. Taran approached her as she wiped sweat from her brow. "You have a gift," he said. "But remember this, the stage will always reflect what you feel most deeply. It can guide you, but it can also reveal things you are not ready to face. Be careful, Rena. Not every desire is meant to be shown." Rena nodded, feeling a shiver run through her. She did not fully understand what he meant, but the stage had already begun to show her glimpses of her own heart. As she left the theater that evening, the city lights seemed to glow with a new intensity. The walkways reflected the fading sun, and the distant hum of hovercrafts sounded almost musical. Rena felt a thrill of anticipation and fear. Tomorrow, she would dive deeper into rehearsal, explore the stage's secrets, and begin the journey that could change her life and perhaps the hearts of everyone in Nova Citadel. For now, she held on to one thought: the Desire stage was not just a stage. It was a doorway, and she was ready to step through. That night, when the theater was empty and quiet, Rena lingered behind. The echo of her footsteps faded as she stepped onto the Desire stage alone. The lights hummed softly, waiting for her, almost like they remembered her from the day's rehearsal. She took a deep breath and allowed herself a moment of silence. She had been thinking all day about what Taran had said: the stage learns from the performers, reflecting not just their desires, but the truths they carry inside. She wondered what it could show if she let go of fear and allowed herself to truly experiment. Rena began to move. Slowly at first, she walked across the stage, paying attention to how the floor responded. Tiny lights flickered beneath her feet, tracing her movements. When she lifted her arms, swirls of color floated around her, soft and gentle at first, then brighter as her confidence grew. She sang a quiet tune she had written long ago, one she had never shared with anyone. The stage reacted immediately. Holographic images rose from the floor, flowers blooming in slow motion, rivers flowing, tiny stars spinning in the air. The images seemed alive, almost breathing with her song. Rena's heart raced. She had never seen anything like it. The Desire stage was not only reflecting her emotions, it was interpreting them, turning them into something beautiful and new. Encouraged, she experimented further. She focused on her dreams, imagining a world where art and creativity connected every person in the colony. The stage responded with intricate patterns of light, weaving together scenes of people laughing, dancing, and sharing stories. Each figure appeared different, but their expressions were full of joy and hope. Rena smiled. This was what she had wanted, to make people feel something real, something that could touch hearts even without words. But as she continued, she felt a strange sensation. The holograms began to shift unexpectedly. Some of the scenes were unfamiliar, almost like memories that weren't hers. Faces appeared that she did not recognize, yet somehow felt important. Places she had never visited glimmered around her. A shiver ran down her spine. She realized the stage was learning not only from her, but from her deepest thoughts and subconscious desires. It was more than a tool, it was alive in a way she could barely understand. Footsteps echoed in the hall. She spun around, and Terran stepped onto the stage, his expression calm but serious. "You're pushing it too far," he said softly. "The stage can handle emotion, yes, but it also reacts to feelings you might not be fully aware of. It can show you truths you're not ready for." Rena nodded slowly. "I didn't mean to. I just wanted to see what it could do." Terran stepped closer, looking at the holograms swirling around her. "I see. And what it's showing is not just your desires, Rena. It's reading patterns, learning from them. You're awakening something new in the stage, something that no performer has done before." Rena swallowed, her excitement mixed with fear. "Is that safe?" "Sometimes it is," Terran said. "Sometimes it can be dangerous. That is why you must be honest with yourself. The stage does not lie, it only reflects. But what it reflects can be overwhelming if you are not careful." Rena took a deep breath and let her thoughts settle. She focused not on fame, not on impressing anyone, but on connection, on the feeling of touching hearts through her music and movement. The holograms responded instantly, glowing softly, merging into a scene of performers and audience together, smiling, dancing, and sharing emotion freely. For the first time, she realized the true power of the stage. It could inspire, heal, and unite, but only if the performer remained true to themselves. Hours passed unnoticed. Rena sang and danced, experimenting with different emotions, each one creating unique patterns in the holographic world. Terran watched quietly, occasionally making small adjustments to the stage's controls, but mostly letting it learn from her. Finally, she paused, exhausted but exhilarated. The light slowly faded, and the images melted away into soft glimmers. She stood in the middle of the stage, breathing heavily, feeling as if she had discovered a secret only she and the stage could share. Terran stepped forward. "You have done something remarkable tonight," he said. "Not just performing, but exploring. Remember, the stage will remember you too. It learns, grows, and changes with every emotion. Treat it with care." Rena nodded, feeling both awe and responsibility. She had glimpsed the stage's potential, and she knew that tomorrow, her rehearsals with Milo and Lyra would take on a new meaning. The Desire stage was no longer just a tool for performance, it was a living partner in creation, and she had begun to understand its possibilities. As she left the theater, the city of Nova Citadel shimmered under the stars. Rena felt a thrill she had never known. The journey had only just begun, but for the first time, she understood what it meant to truly perform, not for recognition, not for fame, but for something larger than herself, the power to touch hearts and reveal the beauty of human emotion. Rena returned to the theater the next morning, the memory of last night's experiments still fresh in her mind. The Desire stage had seemed alive in a way she could not fully explain, and the images she had created haunted her thoughts. She could not stop wondering, what else could the stage do if she pushed it further? Milo was already there when she arrived, stretching his arms in a wide arc. "Good morning, Rena," he said with a grin. "I hope you're ready. Today, we take things further. The stage can do amazing things if you're bold enough to use it." Rena hesitated. She remembered Taryn's warning about being careful. But she also felt a spark of curiosity. She wanted to explore the stage fully, to see what it could reveal. Lyra joined them shortly, her voice soft but serious. Remember, Rena, the stage shows not only desire, but truth. If you lose yourself, it could be dangerous. Rena nodded. She understood Lyra's concern. Yet, she also knew that she could not ignore the temptation of the stage's power. The thought of creating something completely new, something no one had ever seen before, filled her with excitement. The rehearsal began. Milo led first, moving confidently across the stage. The lights swirled around him, bright and bold, reflecting his determination to impress. Rena watched carefully, noticing how the stage seemed to respond more to emotion than skill. Milo's confidence radiated outward, shaping the holograms around him, but there was something rigid in his performance, a desire to control, rather than connect. Then it was Lyra's turn. She sang a gentle melody, and the holograms flowed smoothly, like water following the pull of her voice. Her emotion was subtle but powerful, and the stage responded with delicate patterns that seemed to reach the audience's hearts. Rena realized that honesty, not showiness, allowed the stage to shine. Finally, it was her turn. She stepped forward, taking a deep breath. She thought of her dreams, her hopes, and her fears. She wanted to see the stage's full potential, to let her desire guide the performance without hesitation. As she moved and sang, the holograms responded instantly. Flowers bloomed, rivers flowed, and stars danced around her. But then something unexpected happened. The images began to shift, forming scenes that were not part of her thoughts. A vision of a different world appeared, a world where performers held power over the colony, where their desires shaped reality itself. Rena froze, feeling a chill. The stage had taken her longing for connection and twisted it into something larger, something she had not intended. She realized that the stage did not simply reflect her desires, it could amplify them, even create new possibilities that she had not imagined. Milo's eyes widened. "Look at that," he said, his voice filled with awe. "You can really make it happen. Imagine what we could do if we controlled it." Rena shook her head. "No. That's not why we perform," she said firmly. "The stage is not for control. It's for honesty, for connection." Lyra stepped closer, her expression serious. "Be careful, Rena. Desire can be dangerous if it becomes ambition without thought. The stage will show the truth, whether we want it to or not." Rena took a deep breath, regaining her focus. She let go of thoughts about power and control, focusing instead on the feelings she wanted to share: hope, courage, and understanding. Slowly, the vision of the alternate world faded, replaced by holograms that reflected human connection, people helping each other, children laughing, performers sharing joy with the audience. The lesson was clear. The desire stage was not just a tool, it was a mirror of the heart. It could magnify desires, reveal hidden truths, and even tempt performers into actions they did not intend. But it also offered the chance to create beauty, to inspire, and to connect in ways that nothing else could. After rehearsal, Rena walked with Lyra and Milo toward the exit. The city outside glowed under the setting sun, painting the towers in shades of gold and pink. Milo was still excited, talking about the possibilities of using the stage to impress everyone in the colony. Rena listened politely but felt a quiet resolve growing inside her. She would not let temptation sway her. The stage's power was immense, but she had already learned that honesty and emotion mattered more than spectacle. As she stepped onto the walkway, Rena thought of the stage waiting for her tomorrow. She knew the journey ahead would be filled with challenges, discoveries, and moments of temptation. But she also knew that if she stayed true to herself, the desire stage could become something extraordinary, not a tool of power, but a place where hearts could meet and dreams could shine. For the first time, Rena felt the weight of responsibility alongside the thrill of possibility. She had glimpsed the stage's true power, and now it was up to her to choose how to use it wisely. The next rehearsal started with a buzz of excitement and tension. Rena had been thinking about the visions she had seen the day before, and she felt both cautious and curious. The desire stage had shown her possibilities she had never imagined, but it had also reminded her how easily desires could be misinterpreted. Milo and Lyra were already on the stage, warming up. Milo's movements were energetic, each step confident and bold, while Lyra's voice floated softly, filling the hall with a calming melody. The stage seemed to respond to them differently now, almost as if it remembered Rena's experiments from the night before. Terran stepped forward, watching carefully. "Today, you will perform for a small audience," he said. "Just a few colony officials and invited citizens. It is a test, not a show. Remember what you learned: honesty and connection matter more than spectacle." Rena nodded. Her stomach fluttered with nerves. This would be the first time her performance would reach beyond the rehearsal hall, and she could feel the stage responding, waiting for her emotions to guide it. The performance began. Rena moved across the stage, her voice carrying melodies she had practiced for weeks. The holograms reacted instantly, blooming into intricate shapes and flowing colors that seemed alive. As she sang, she focused on hope, courage, and kindness, pouring her true feelings into the performance. But then, something unexpected happened. The audience began to react in ways she had not anticipated. Faces lit up with emotion, eyes glistened with unspoken feelings, and some even seemed to feel joy and sadness simultaneously. The stage had done more than reflect her desires, it had drawn the audience into the emotion, creating a shared experience unlike anything she had seen before. Milo noticed the effect and smiled. "Incredible," he whispered. "It's more than just us performing. They feel it too." Lyra nodded, a thoughtful expression on her face. "The stage is not just for showing desire," she said softly. "It shares it." Rena's heart raced. She realized the responsibility of performing on the desire stage was greater than she had imagined. Every emotion she revealed, every feeling she allowed herself to experience, became a part of the audience's hearts. The line between performer and observer blurred. As the final note of her song echoed across the hall, the holograms shifted into a scene of light and energy connecting everyone in the audience. For a moment, it felt as if the entire room were breathing together, sharing a single, profound emotion. Rena's breath caught. She had never experienced anything so powerful. After the performance, the room erupted into applause. But it was different from normal clapping. People were smiling, their expressions full of wonder and reflection. The colony officials whispered to one another, clearly impressed, but also a little unsettled by the intensity of the experience. Terran stepped onto the stage and placed a hand on Rena's shoulder. "You see what I mean?" he asked quietly. "The stage reflects more than desire. It reveals truth. And truth can be overwhelming." Rena nodded, still catching her breath. She had seen the impact on the audience, and she realized that even the smallest emotion could have a profound effect when shared. The stage was a powerful tool, but it demanded care and understanding. Later, When the rehearsal ended, Rena stayed behind to speak with Taryn. "Did I do it right?" she asked, uncertainty in her voice. "You did more than right," Taryn replied. "You inspired them. But be careful. The stage is learning from every performance, every thought, every feeling. It will continue to evolve, and its effect will grow. You must never forget that honesty is your greatest guide." Rena thought about the images she had created, the way the audience had felt her emotions, and the strange visions that had appeared the night before. She realized that the Desire stage was not just a machine, it was a living reflection of humanity itself. Every performer who stepped on it would leave a mark, and every audience would take something away. As she left the theater, the city of Nova Citadel glittered under the setting sun. She could see hovercrafts gliding past, hear the distant hum of music and voices, and feel the heartbeat of the colony around her. For the first time, Rena truly understood the impact she could have not just on the stage, but on the people she performed for. She knew the journey ahead would be filled with challenges, temptations, and discoveries. The Desire stage had shown her the power of human emotion, the beauty of connection, and the danger of unchecked desire. But she also felt hope. If she stayed true to herself, she could use this power to inspire, to heal, and to create something extraordinary. Rena smiled to herself as she looked toward the theater towers glowing in the distance. The Desire stage had changed her, and it had changed the colony. Tomorrow, she would return, ready to explore its secrets further, ready to face whatever came next, and ready to continue sharing the truth of human desire in its most beautiful and honest form. The day of the grand performance had arrived. Nova Citadel buzzed with anticipation as the colony gathered to witness what they had heard would be the most extraordinary show in years. The Desire stage gleamed under the bright lights, ready to reflect the hearts of everyone who stepped upon it. Rena stood backstage, her hands clasped tightly together. She could feel the weight of the moment pressing on her shoulders, yet she also felt a spark of excitement. This was her chance not to impress, not to seek fame, but to share something real, something that could touch everyone in the audience. Milo and Lyra were beside her, offering smiles and encouragement. Milo's usual confidence was tempered by respect for the moment, while Lyra's calm presence reminded Rena of the importance of honesty in their performance. "Are you ready?" Lyra asked softly. Rena nodded. "I think so. I want it to be true." Taryn appeared quietly at the edge of the stage. "Remember what you've learned," he said. "The stage will follow your heart. Be honest, and you can inspire more than you can imagine. Lose yourself, and the consequences can be unpredictable." Rena took a deep breath and stepped onto the stage. The lights shifted and shimmered, responding to her presence. She closed her eyes for a moment, centering herself, and let her emotions flow. She thought of her dreams, of the people who had believed in her, and of the joy she wanted to share. The performance began with a gentle melody, Rena's voice soft but full of emotion. The holograms responded instantly, forming delicate patterns of light that moved like waves. The audience leaned forward, drawn into the beauty of the scene. For the first time, the stage did not simply reflect her desires, it amplified them, sharing her feelings with everyone present. Milo began to dance, his movements bold and precise, yet carefully harmonized with Rena's song. The stage glowed around him, reflecting his energy while keeping the focus on connection rather than control. Lyra added her voice to the melody, creating a harmony that wove through the holographic patterns, tying everything together. The audience gasped in wonder as the stage shifted and changed with the performers' emotions. Flowers bloomed and floated in the air, rivers shimmered in mid-motion, and stars twirled around the room, merging reality and hologram into one mesmerizing experience. Children laughed and pointed at the shapes, adults watched with tears in their eyes, and even the colony officials seemed captivated by the performance. Rena felt a surge of joy and pride, but she also remembered Taryn's warning. She focused on her emotions, letting only honesty guide her. She thought of connection, courage, and hope, letting these feelings shape the performance. The stage responded beautifully, creating a shared experience that united everyone in the room. As the performance reached its climax, Rena realized something extraordinary. The desire stage was not just showing her desires, it was reflecting the humanity of everyone present. The audience's emotions merged with hers, creating a moment of pure empathy. The stage became a bridge, connecting hearts and minds in a way that no performance had ever done before. Milo and Lyra smiled at her, understanding the unspoken truth: this was more than art. It was a gift. The desire stage had become a living canvas for human emotion, and Rena was its guide. Finally, the music softened, and the holograms gently faded into glowing trails that disappeared into the air. The audience erupted into applause, not just for the skill of the performers, but for the experience itself. There was laughter, tears, and quiet awe, all blending together into a single, shared moment of joy. Taryn stepped forward, his eyes shining. "You did it, Rena. You have truly understood the stage. Not as a tool of power, but as a way to share humanity." Rena smiled, feeling a mixture of relief and pride. She had faced temptation, doubts, and the challenge of controlling the desire stage. But she had chosen honesty and connection over spectacle, and the result was more than she had ever imagined. As she left the stage, the colony continued to buzz with excitement. People spoke of the performance for hours, inspired not only by the beauty they had seen but by the emotions they had felt together. Rena knew that this was only the beginning. Looking up at the glowing towers of Nova's citadel, she felt a new sense of purpose. The desire stage was a gift, a way to unite hearts and inspire hope. And she knew that as long as she stayed true to herself, she could continue to explore its potential, touching lives and spreading connection wherever she went. For the first time, Rena understood the true power of performance: not fame, not applause, but the ability to awaken the best in people. She had made a choice, and it had transformed her world. The morning after the grand performance, Nova Citadel was alive with chatter. Citizens spoke of the desire stage, their eyes shining with wonder. Rena walked through the streets, smiling quietly as she listened. People described how the performance had touched them, made them feel emotions they had never realized, and brought them closer to one another. For Rena, it was a moment of quiet pride and deep reflection. She arrived at the theater to find Taryn already there, adjusting the systems with careful attention. He looked up as she entered. "The colony is still talking about last night," he said with a smile. "You have done something extraordinary, Rena. The stage has never responded like that before." Rena nodded. "It felt alive," she said softly. "Like it wanted to share something more than just my desires." Taryn's eyes brightened. "That's because it did. The desire stage is learning, evolving. But it's not just the stage, it's you, too. You guided it with honesty and heart. That's why it worked." As Rena moved through the theater, she saw Milo and Lyra practicing quietly, their expressions thoughtful. Milo's usual confidence was tempered by newfound respect for the stage and for Rena's approach. Lyra smiled at her warmly. "You've shown everyone what it truly means to perform," she said. "Not for fame, not for control, but for connection. Rena felt a warmth spread through her chest. The journey had been long and full of challenges, but every step had led her to this moment. The stage had tested her, tempted her, and revealed truths she had never known. And through it all, she had learned that the most powerful performances came from honesty and shared emotion. Over the next few days, the theater became a place of learning and discovery. Citizens came to see performances, not just for entertainment, but to experience the shared emotions the stage could evoke. Teachers brought students to witness the connection, families visited together, and even officials began to understand the importance of fostering genuine emotion in art. Rena continued to perform, experimenting with new songs and movements, but always guided by the lessons she had learned. The stage responded beautifully, reflecting not just desire, but the humanity of everyone involved. She realized that her role was not to control the stage, but to guide it with care, allowing it to amplify the good in people's hearts. One evening, as the sun set behind the towers of Nova Citadel, Rena stood on the stage with Taryn by her side. The lights shimmered softly, welcoming her presence. "Do you ever wonder what else the stage can do?" she asked. Taryn nodded. "Yes. It will continue to evolve, just as you will. One day, it may reach other colonies, other worlds. And when it does, it will carry with it the lessons you've taught it: honesty, connection, and the power of shared emotion." Rena smiled. She thought of the future, imagining the stage traveling beyond Nova Citadel, spreading hope and inspiration across the stars. She felt a sense of purpose deeper than anything she had known. This was more than a stage, it was a bridge, a way to unite people and share the beauty of the human heart. Milo and Lyra joined her, their presence comforting and familiar. "Are you ready for the next performance?" Milo asked, a spark of excitement returning to his eyes. Rena nodded. "Yes. But this time, I want it to be more than just a performance. I want it to be a connection." Lyra smiled. "That's exactly what it should be. And I think everyone who watches will feel it." As they began to practice, the holograms responded instantly, shimmering and swirling in intricate patterns. The stage was alive, yes, but it was also guided by the performers' hearts. The images were beautiful, not just because of technology, but because they carried truth, emotion, and the shared humanity of everyone present. Rena realized that the Desire stage had given her more than fame or skill. It had given her a way to touch lives, to inspire hope, and to show that the most extraordinary power of all was human connection. And as she looked out at the glowing city through the theater's transparent walls, she imagined a future filled with possibilities. A future where the stage could travel, inspire, and unite people across the stars. A future where every performer could share their heart honestly, and every audience could experience the beauty of shared emotion. Rena took a deep breath, feeling a sense of calm and purpose. The Desire stage had become a part of her, just as she had become a part of it. Together, they would continue to create, inspire, and leave a legacy of hope and connection for generations to come. For the first time, Rena understood fully, the stage was not just about performance, it was about humanity, and the endless possibilities that came when people shared their hearts with one another. And with that thought, she stepped forward, ready to perform again, ready to inspire, and ready to leave a lasting mark on the world.